Ice cream is the innocent joy of summer, right? Wrong. In 2021, a consumer watchdog group tested popular pints and discovered that several so-called premium brands contained trace levels of carcinogenic emulsifiers, synthetic thickeners linked to gastrointestinal distress, and even titanium dioxide, a whitening agent banned in the EU but still sliding into American mouths like corporate betrayal on a cone. Meanwhile, their labels whisper sweet nothings like crafted with love and simple ingredients, as if love causes tumors. So before you scoop yourself another spoonful of deception, let's rank 7 ice cream brands from worst to just barely edible, and reveal the 2 rare unicorns that won't leave your gut feeling like a chemistry experiment gone rogue. Number 7. Breyers, the brand that desperately wants you to believe it's still ice cream. Once a symbol of purity, Breyers now sells a product some FDA definitions can't legally call ice cream. It's labeled as frozen dairy dessert. Why? Because they swapped out actual cream for corn syrup, gums, and natural flavors, which in corporate speak means, we won't tell you what it is, but trust us, it's totally fine. It's like inviting someone over for a homemade meal, then serving them powdered soup with a crayon garnish. And the best part? The titanium dioxide used for whitening has been flagged in health reviews as a potential carcinogen. But hey, it does make that scoop photogenic. Just don't eat it with the lights on. Number 6. Halo Top. Because who wouldn't trust a low-calorie dessert that tastes like wet drywall mixed with Splenda fumes? Marketed as the guilt-free savior of snack time, Halo Top is the frozen equivalent of diet soda in disguise. Sure, it's got fewer calories, but that's because they've stuffed it with erythritol, a sugar alcohol that can leave you bloated, gassy, and questioning all your life choices. The kicker? They still dare to print "made with wholesome ingredients" on the label, which apparently includes cellulose gel, the stuff found in wallpaper paste. If you've ever wanted your dessert to double as an intestinal laxative, congratulations, you found your muse. Number 5. Bluebell, the comeback kid nobody asked for. After a deadly 2015 listeria outbreak that caused multiple deaths and a nationwide recall, you'd think they'd tread carefully. But nope, they're back on shelves with the same chipper packaging, as if Grandma's frozen death trap never happened. They've had more sanitation violations than a gas station bathroom, and yet people still scoop it up like nostalgia can sterilize bacteria. Let's not forget their charming habit of using high-fructose corn syrup and artificial additives while touting homemade vanilla, which is like calling a lab-created clone your childhood pet. Spoiler: it's not homemade, and definitely not innocent. Number 4. Häagen-Dazs, the brand with a made-up European name and a very real ingredient problem. Sold as ultra-premium and dripping with sophistication, this pint is basically dessert in a tuxedo. That's hiding a flask. Despite advertising simple ingredients, Consumer Reports have flagged their frequent use of carrageenan, a thickener derived from seaweed that sounds healthy until you find out it's linked to gut inflammation and potential colon tumors in animal studies. Classy, right? They top it off with industrial dairy from cows fed GMO grains and antibiotics, but wrap it all in gold foil, like they're saving the planet one stomachache at a time. It's like getting food poisoning at a luxury hotel. Chic, painful, and insultingly expensive. Number 3. Ben & Jerry's, the activist brand that fights for justice, unless that justice involves cleaning up their ingredient list. Known for quirky flavors and progressive slogans, the pint still delivers a punch of genetically modified corn syrup solids, industrial dairy, and stabilizers that sound like rejected Star Wars villains. Mono and diglycerides? Anyone? Tests in recent years even found traces of glyphosate, the controversial weed killer and probable carcinogen, in some of their pints. So while they're busy tweeting about climate change, your intestines are changing climate zones of their own. It's like buying organic kale from a chain-smoking yoga teacher. All vibes, zero follow-through. Number 2. Nestlé drumstick, because nothing says carefree classic like a prepackaged cone oozing with chemical drama. You'd think a cone with nuts and fudge would be simple, but Nestlé managed to cram in polysorbate 80, artificial flavorings, and the ever-mysterious propellant gas to keep that whipped nightmare stable. Polysorbate 80 has been investigated for its potential impact on gut bacteria and intestinal permeability. You know, the stuff that makes your lining leak like a dollar store inflatable pool. But don't worry, the packaging still has cartoon joy printed on it, like a toxic time capsule from 1995. It's nostalgia, now with possible side effects. Number 1. Great value. Walmart's budget brand that tastes exactly like a failed science experiment trying to be dessert. Beneath its nothing-to-hide generic packaging lurks a cocktail of dairy-like substances thickened with guar gum, mono, and diglycerides, and everyone's favorite microscopic horror, titanium dioxide. According to consumer research, this budget ice cream sometimes contains fewer natural ingredients than the store's cleaning aisle, which feels appropriate given how many of its emulsifiers are also found in non-food products. It's the culinary equivalent of asking a mannequin to cook you dinner. And yet people keep buying it because it's cheap and cold, proving once again that freezing your tongue is a great way to silence your standards. But if this is the worst of the freezer aisle, what's actually safe? Get ready. We found 2. Safe option number 1. Alden's Organic. Yes, it's real ice cream. Yes, it's made with actual cream, cane sugar, and organic ingredients that don't double as industrial foam. Alden's skips the artificial stabilizers and wacky emulsifiers, focusing instead on dairy from cows not pumped full of antibiotics and mystery feed. It's certified organic, which in this case actually means something, and independent tests haven't revealed any surprise heavy metals or sketchy sweeteners. Not a miracle, but in this timeline, avoiding gut-burning chemicals is basically saintly. Safe option number 2, coconut Bliss, because apparently the only way to avoid digestive sabotage is to skip dairy altogether. This plant-based pint starts with organic coconut milk instead of chemical-coated cow juice and sweetens things up with agave syrup, not some lab-engineered sugar twin. It's free from soy, GMOs, carrageenan, and the usual suspects that turn dessert into medical malpractice. And while it may taste more like tropical zen than sugar bomb, at least it won't leave your intestines wondering if they've been punked by big dairy. In a dessert landscape littered with frozen betrayal, coconut Bliss is like a monk showing up to a frat party. Shockingly pure, mildly confused, but blessedly safe. Drop your biggest ice cream betrayal in the comments below, especially if your favorite flavor now sounds like a biohazard. Turns out brain freeze was the least dangerous thing in the freezer aisle. Who knew the real chill was emotional, not physical? And there you have it. The next time someone offers you a scoop of nostalgia wrapped in smiling cows and heartwarming slogans, maybe read the label. Or better yet, the lab results. Drop your biggest ice cream betrayal in the comments below, especially if your favorite flavor now sounds like a biohazard. Because nothing completes this flavor fiasco quite like realizing your midnight snack came with a side of gastrointestinal sabotage and corporate indifference. At this point, the only thing more artificial than most ice cream ingredients is the marketing that pretends they're wholesome. Treats handed down from wholesome cows raised by even wholesomer farmers. So next time you're eyeing a frozen dairy dessert that sounds like it belongs in a romance novel, ask yourself, do I want sugar or simulated sadness in a cone? And that brings us to the end of this frozen nightmare fantasy. If your favorite pint just got exposed like a shady politician's internet history, maybe it's time to reassess what's really chilling in your freezer. Drop your favorite corporate crime scene below, and let's swap horror scoops in the comments. And just like that, we've scraped the bottom of the pint. Congratulations, you've survived a deep dive into America's creamiest con jobs, one artificially flavored lie at a time. If you feel betrayed, bloated, or existentially chilled, you're not alone. Drop your favorite corporate crime scene below, and let's swap horror scoops in the comments. One last scoop before we sign off. If your dessert requires a chemistry degree to understand, maybe it's less of a treat and more of a threat. Stay frosty, label readers, and remember, just because it's frozen doesn't mean the danger's been chilled. Just remember, every pint you put in your cart is either a dessert or a dare. Next time someone tells you their favorite ice cream tastes just like childhood, you might want to ask, was that before or after the listeria outbreaks, gut disruptors, and spoonfuls of bleach-sounding ingredients? Stay weird, stay skeptical, and stay far away from anything that promises indulgence and delivers inflammation. Because at the end of the day, what you're swallowing isn't just sugar and dairy, it's a cold chunk of corporate marketing, regulatory loopholes, and enough questionable compounds to make your colon feel like a test subject in a failed sci-fi experiment. Sleep tight, sweet-toothed truth seekers, and may your next scoop come with fewer additives and zero identity crises. So if you're thinking of grabbing that pint that promises pure bliss while secretly moonlighting as a periodic table sampler, maybe just reach for a frozen banana instead. It won't lie to you, it won't gaslight your pancreas, and most importantly, it won't require a hazmat suit to digest. Stay bitter, stay bold, and remember, dessert doesn't have to be deadly. So that's the truth melting under the lid. Your freezer aisle is less of a dessert wonderland and more like an edible crime museum curated by marketing execs with questionable morals and a hand in your colon. The next sweet treat you unwrap might just be a biochemical love letter to regulatory negligence. Drop a comment with the dessert that betrayed you most, because nothing says healing like bonding over shared digestion trauma. So there it is, friends, the unholy truth behind your frozen comfort food. If your favorite ice cream now feels less like dessert and more like a science fair gone rogue, welcome to the club. Drop your biggest betrayal in a pint in the comments, because clearly we all need a support group, and maybe a detox. Sleep tight, and may your scoops be clean, cold, and conspiracy-free. So next time someone hands you a mint chocolate chip smile and says, "It's just ice cream," remember, so is a snowball laced with antifreeze. Your dessert doesn't need a PR team and a periodic table. It just needs to not poison you. Stay cold, stay suspicious, and whatever you do, don't trust anything labeled frozen dairy dessert, unless you're also okay with eating lies churned for mass production. And if none of this has you questioning everything you've ever loved about dessert, consider this. The FDA still allows dozens of food additives banned in other countries, including several found in popular ice creams, to slide under the radar with just enough loopholes to keep churning profit. It's not frozen joy, it's cryogenic capitalism. So go ahead, scoop wisely, or just start licking the nutrition label like it's the only thing not trying to sabotage you. Stay skeptical, sweet tooths, and may your next bite be more bliss than biohazard. Because here's the final flavor twist. In a world where frozen desserts come loaded with industrial-grade additives and chemical camouflage, your safest option might be the one item in the aisle that doesn't scream for attention. The tub without cartoon mascots, viral flavors, or neon drizzle might actually be food. So read the labels, skip the edible deception, and maybe, just maybe, let your next indulgence be brutally honest, not biologically confusing. Stay cold, stay curious, and remember, real ice cream doesn't need a glossary or a warning label to taste good. Because if your dessert needs a disclaimer, an ingredient translator, and a gut microbiome recovery plan, it might be less of a treat and more of an edible prank. Stay sharp, spoon warriors, and may your next indulgence read like a recipe, not a lab report. So we end this saga on a deliciously chilling note. The freezer aisle promised comfort, but delivered chaos in pint-sized packaging. If your dessert needs a chemical glossary and a post-snack therapy session, maybe the only thing truly frozen is accountability. But if you've made it this far, congrats! You now know more about emulsifiers, carrageenan, and titanium dioxide than most FDA officials probably want you to. Whether you're team organic coconut or just dodging chemical warfare disguised as dessert, stay vigilant. Your taste buds might crave that creamy hit of nostalgia, but your gut lining is begging for mercy. So go forth, label readers, truth seekers, and fridge forensics experts. The next scoop is yours. Just make sure it won't send your organs into existential crisis mode. And that, dear viewers, is the scoop-stained reality we're stuck with. You thought you were treating yourself to a dessert, but you were really double-dipping into a tub of FDA-approved chaos sprinkled with corporate indifference. So next time you're in front of that glowing freezer, ask yourself this: do I want a treat, or do I want to sponsor my own health sabotage? Stay frosty, stay furious, and for the love of lactose, stop trusting ingredients you can't pronounce without summoning a pharmaceutical rep. So go ahead, scoop wisely, or maybe just scream into the freezer section next time you see natural vanilla flavor lurking like a villain in a Hallmark disguise. Because if there's one thing this sugary exposé has made clear, it's that in the dairy aisle of late-stage capitalism, trust isn't cold, it's completely dead. So next time you're tempted by a limited edition circus peanut swirl or unicorn glitter crunch, ask yourself, is this flavor, or is this corporate alchemy engineered to override your survival instincts? Your digestive system isn't a carnival ride, and your dessert shouldn't read like a pharmaceutical warning label. Don't settle for edible confusion wrapped in smiling cow propaganda. The next pint you open shouldn't require hope, luck, or a liability waiver. Just honesty and ice cream that actually qualifies as food. Freeze wisely, friends, and may your future scoops be free of deceit and digestively drama-free. Final thought? In the world of frozen deception, it turns out the real cherry on top isn't flavor, it's fraud. So next time you reach for a pint that promises delight in every bite, just know, it might also come with a side of synthetic sadness and gut betrayal disguised as dessert. So that's our final scoop of hard truth. You came for dessert, but left with a PhD in deception, a minor in emulsifiers, and a lingering existential crisis with sprinkles. Stay cold, stay informed, and next time someone hands you a pint of wellness indulgence, remember, corporate sweet talk melts faster than your standards at midnight. Bon appétit, if you dare. So that's our final scoop of hard truth. You came for dessert, but left with a PhD in deception, a minor in emulsifiers, and a lingering existential crisis with sprinkles. Stay cold, stay informed, and next time someone hands you a pint of wellness indulgence, remember, corporate sweet talk melts faster than your standards at midnight. Bon appétit, if you dare. So if you're still clinging to the idea that your favorite frozen treat is just harmless joy in a tub, it's time to wake up and smell the propylene glycol. Because in this fluorescent-lit freezer aisle dystopia, your biggest health decision might not be kale or quinoa, it might be rocky road. Stay cold, stay skeptical. And remember, it's not just dessert. It's a deliciously disguised decision about what side of the ingredient war you're truly on. So next time you reach for that comforting pint of frozen nostalgia, remember, it could be spoon-fed sabotage wearing a smile. Question the sweetness. Interrogate the creaminess. And if your dessert requires a legal-sized disclaimer to enjoy safely, maybe it's trying to tell you something, Like, run. So here ends the frosty exposé, dear viewers. Not with sprinkles, but with suspicion. Because in this supermarket saga of sweet deceit, the only thing truly chilling wasn't the ice cream. It was the truth hiding under the lid. So consider this your final warning, served extra cold. The next time a pint promises simple joy, but lists more synthetic compounds than a chemistry final, maybe it's not dessert. It's denial in a tub. Stay suspicious, truth spooners, because in the land of frosty fakery, your only real topping is awareness. So before you reward your next existential spiral with a pint of Happy Cow Vanilla Dream, tilt that smiley labeled lie and ask, do I want comfort or a chemical cocktail in disguise? Because under that glossy lid might not just be ice cream, it could be the world's coldest con job, sweetly engineered to bypass your better judgment. Sleep tight, scoop skeptics, and don't forget, sometimes the most dangerous thing in your freezer isn't expired meat, it's dessert with a PR team. So next time someone hands you a frozen treat with a wink and a cartoon cow, remember, it's not just dessert, it's a dietary jump scare wrapped in vanilla-scented deception. Trust your gut, literally. And don't let your sweet tooth sign a contract your intestines can't void. So we end with this. If your freezer aisle feels less like a food section and more like a science fiction anthology, you're not paranoid. You're paying attention. The next time you reach for double fudge happiness swirl, double-check that it doesn't also come with a secret side of existential regret and an ingredient list that reads like expired lab inventory. Stay curious, stay defiant, and remember. The real flavor revolution starts with reading the fine print. So here's our last lick of honesty. When dessert starts needing a fact check and a hazard label, it's no longer a snack. It's a small, frozen panic attack. So the next time a pint whispers sweet lies in cursive fonts, ask yourself, am I buying ice cream or an edible betrayal wearing sprinkles?